President Trump's 25th day in office. It has only been 25 days. Now, all right, very vocal crowd this afternoon. Now, he said...
democracy, eh?
He says that he's already started talks with Russia's President Putin to end the war in Ukraine. He said he and Putin had a lengthy and highly productive phone call yesterday and agreed talks to end the conflict. Those talks have started immediately. So do we trust Trump to follow through on this, Gloria?
A very, very big and interesting question. And it's very funny. The audience reaction was, you know, when you mentioned Trump's name. But I've been in America for a week not that long ago, and I'm only just setting the scene to say that, you know, he had a bit of a landslide to actually get the presidency in the first place. And just talking to general people, I have to say they're very excited in a way about what Trump is going to do. We'll watch and see. And they think he's very good for America. But anyway, I think when it comes to my brain, if I'm being really honest, I watch the news as much as I can. And I think he's pumping out so many things, you know, whether it's Gaza, Ukraine, you know, whether it's Greenland, Russia. And my brain goes round and round and round, thinking, what is he going to do? And but the one thing that I'm really concerned about, it just as an individual, is the fact that you have this deadline of noon on Saturday, which Trump is very, very vocal about. And some people think he's acting like God. I noticed in the papers today, people are saying he acts like God, and some people are saying it's shocking, etc. But, you know, he would claim that he gets things done. But what I'm worried about on a personal level is that there are 79 hostages that he's insisting if Hamas doesn't release those 75, or 79 rather, by noon on Saturday. That
but actually we have, the thing with these stories, especially where Trump is concerned, there are constantly updates on all of these stories. Actually, what Hamas has said just today is that they will release the hostages that they were always supposed to be releasing on Saturday.
Not necessarily 79.
No. But they had always said from the start, when it came to this deal, that the hostages would be released bit by bit. So the number that they said was going to be released on Saturday would happen. But in terms of, it's interesting you say there are so many things, and every day there's about 2 or 3 things that Trump releases that you don't really know which part of the story to go with, because if it's paper straws or if it's tariffs or if it's Ukraine or if it's Gaza, he's kind of doing a scattergun approach where we get quite overwhelmed by the things that he's saying, which some might argue is quite clever, Nadia.
It is absolutely petrifying. You know, he said during the election, he kept saying, give me 24 hours, I'll sort out Russia and Ukraine. You know, the ego is beyond any really normal thinking person's belief. I mean, I'm very worried for when he comes along and says, you know, peace, he's having peace talks with Putin on the same day that also America announced that they're probably going to pull out of NATO. What I fear for the Ukrainians is, imagine if, when we look at what his ceasefire meant for the people of Gaza, which is they moved to Jordan and Egypt, are we going to see the Ukrainians being moved to maybe Poland and Germany? This is the way I think about Trump. Whenever he announces anything, I feel terrified about what he's actually going to do, because he's breaking down the Constitution. He's a man that's just on a mission. His ego is inflated beyond belief.
One thing he's always maintained is that his thing was all about America first, which is part of the reason why he did so well. So who knows, a kind of deal that he has done, perhaps, where Putin is concerned, did see an American hostage being released. It was swapped for a Russian who was accused of laundering money for Russia. So there was a swap there. So it has worked in America's favour in that way, in terms of an individual. But what we don't know is what else has been discussed here. It may not be to Europe's favour, but it may well be to America's favour.
But that is his whole image. He is an entertainer. He is actually a character from a Marvel comic. You know, he's literally becoming... He's like, you know, the disruptor or extraordinaire.
At the same time being the leader of the free world. God help us.
Exactly, and he's trying to be a hero, and then he's also a villain in the same sentences. He tries to bring both.
But does he care about being a villain to anyone else other than the people who voted for him?
It's his ego. I mean, look at how the Oval Office is like a free-for-all. Did you see Elon Musk in there with his little boy on his shoulders talking to the press about some incorrect Look at that. What's going on in that?
But then he's the richest man in the world. He feels he can do whatever he wants.
What is that saying to the world? So the tech bros can run everything because they don't worry about war because they can pay for everything and make themselves safe. They can't save the man on the street. Joe Bloggs isn't going to be protected by Elon Musk.
Can I just finish
the point
that I started in terms of my own fear? The thing is that Trump this morning on television had said, I don't want to see anybody else being killed. I'm tired of hearing of people dying. Now, if we don't hit the deadline on Saturday and they don't release the hostages, the thing is, all those tens of thousands of people who went back to their homeland, where were they going to live anyway? But they are going to be possibly killed in what happens after the deadline if it breaks down.
But, I mean, what happens are, you know, if they stick to what the original arrangement was, if they don't, that's sort of looking towards the future, and we don't really know what's going to happen with that situation at the moment. But I guess the thing is none of us really knows what he's going to say next, what Trump is going to say next, what he's going to do next. This isn't a situation any of us have really been in before when it comes to a so-called Western nation. And so it is then fascinating, Nadia, exactly what happens next. But it is undeniably going to impact
fascinating and
millions
terrifying.
Of people. Yeah.
Because even that little thing of the boy he's showing us that he cares nothing for the norms. Whatever they want to do and his group of billionaires want to do is what they will do.
So why is nobody pushing back? Why are so many countries
Because as Charlene says, a million things going on at one time, throwing everything up in the air. A lot of these things will not be allowed, but at the moment...
Yeah. And some of them, there are some sensible things within the mound of madness. Yeah. There will be some things that are actually
And some people argue that at least Trump gets to talk to people, which is another issue.
Well, you know, we'll have to see what happens, really, but it's an interesting situation, I think, for every world leader at the moment, because no one quite knows what to do next. So it's kind of watch this space, really.